we will see about the tongue. Today we will see about the tongue. Tongue is a muscular organ. Tongue is a muscular organ. Tongue is a muscular organ in the floor of the mouth cavity. In the floor. In the floor of the mouth cavity. In the floor of the mouth cavity. It is a muscular organ made up of the skeletal muscles present in the floor of the mouth cavity. Well, it is associated with the functions of the tongue are number 1 is the taste. Number 2 is the speech. Number 3 is the deglutition. Number 3 is the deglutition, mastication. Deglutition and mastication. Speech also called as phonation. Speech also called as phonation. The taste, different taste buds are present in the tongue. Hence, tongue associated with these 4 factors, 4 functions. That is the taste, speech, mastication and deglutition. Different taste and speech, phonation. Deglutition means swallowing. Mastication means chewing, mastication. These are the functions related to the tongue. Well, now comes to the situation. It is situated. Situation. Situation. It is partly situated in the mouth and partly in the pharynx. Partly in the mouth, oral cavity, that is the partly in the mouth, partly in the pharynx, that is the oropharynx, partly in the pharynx. It is present partly in the mouth, partly in the pharynx, and separated by, see, it is the tongue. I give a schematic diagram, and separated by a V-shaped sulcus. Sulcus terminalis. It is the sulcus terminalis. It is the pharyngeal, oral part. It is the oral part. It is the pharyngeal part. These both are separated by a demarcation, a sulcus. A prominent sulcus called as sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis. Though they are one entity, this pharyngeal part and the oral part differ from each other in the function, in the structure, in the development. This oral part and pharyngeal part. As I told you, they are the 2 parts of the tongue. In the dorsum of the tongue has 2 parts. This dorsum of the tongue has got 2 parts. One is the oral part. Another is the pharyngeal part. Another part is the pharyngeal part, which has been demarcated by a groove called as sulcus terminalis. Though they are one entity, but these are two in different in function, different in the morphological pattern, and differ in developmental factor also. This has to be taken down. This part of the tongue is called as the dorsum of the tongue. Dorsum of the tongue. Now the external features. What are the external features of the tongue? External features of the tongue. It has got the tip, it has got the root, it has got the tip, root, and the body. Tip, root, and body. Root, tip, and body. The root has got two parts. Above it has a mandible. Below it has a hyoid bone. Above it is a mandible. Below it has a hyoid bone. Tip is related to the free mobile. Tip is free mobile related to the incisor teeth. Incisor teeth. Tip of the tongue is a freely mobile related to incisor teeth. Root has got the two related to the above mandible, below. Hyoid bone has got two parts. That is the hyoid bone has got two parts. Anterior 2/3. Anterior 2/3. Posterior 1/3. Anterior 2/3. Posterior 1/3. It is confined to the oral cavity. It is confined to the oral cavity. It is confined to the pharyngeal part. Pharyngeal part. And the dorsum of, and there is a dorsum of the tongue. Well, it is the dorsum of the tongue has got the body. Anterior 2/3 has a oral cavity. Posterior 1/3 is a pharyngeal part. Now oral. Here it is the oral part. Now we will see the diagrammatic expression. I will show by the diagram. It will be easy to understand. Now I have given you the demarcation. I have given you the gross part. Once again I will show it is the tongue. It is demarcated by the sulcus terminalis. Anterior 2/3. It is a gross idea I have given you. Posterior 1/3. It is the oral part. Isn't it? Oral part. It is the pharyngeal part. I have given you the gross idea, basic idea. It is the demarcation is called sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis. This pharyngeal part, oral part, belongs to it is the tip. Isn't it? Though this pharyngeal part or oral part connected to the one entity, one thing, but they differ functionally, they differ developmentally, they differ morphologically. Now we'll see the anterior part diagrammatically. Now we'll see the posterior pharyngeal part diagrammatically. Well, now we'll see the diagrammatic expression. Now we'll see about the diagrammatic expression. We will come to the diagram here. We'll see the diagrammatic expression here. See here. It is the dorsum of the tongue can be seen here. You can see the diagram of the tongue can be seen here. See here, it is the diagram of the tongue. Anterior 2/3. Anterior 2/3, there is a median, one more median sulcus is there on either side. On either side, there are the papillae are there. See here. And there is a sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis which demarcates the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. The sulcus terminalis bit in center of the sulcus terminalis there is one foramen, foramina cecum. This foramina called as foramina cecum, and to the sulcus terminalis there are the papillae. A rounded papillae are called as circumvallate papillae. They are called as circumvallate papillae. And on either side there are the marginally they are the foliate papillae, and there are the filiform papillae. You can see here minute papillae are the filiform papillae. You can see here minute papillae are the filiform papillae, and larger than this fungiform papillae. These fungiform papillae are larger than the piliform but smaller than the circumvallate papillae. These are the papillae. And it is a pharyngeal part. This pharyngeal part has got the one fold that is a palatoglossal fold. Anteriorly it has a fold called as palatoglossal fold. Posteriorly one fold called as palatopharyngeal fold. And between this there is a one area that space it is occupied by the palatine tonsil. We'll see next time this class. We'll see it is anterior to this pharyngeal part, palatoglossal fold. Posterior to this there is a palatopharyngeal fold, and there is a behind to this there is a median epiglottic fold is there. Median epiglottic fold, posterior part of the tongue, and this pharyngeal part has got the lymphoid structures. Lymph nodes on the pharyngeal part, lymph nodes are here, but here there are the papillae are there. It is regarding the dorsum of this dorsum. When you see the inferior surface of the tongue, it is a lingual vein. Deep lingual vein is there. Frenulum is here. Frenulum it ties the tongue to the oral cavity. Frenulum regulates the movement of the tongue. Frenulum it regulates the movement of the tongue, and there is a mucosal fold, plica fimbria. Mucosal fold called plica fimbria, and it is a frenulum which regulates the movement of the tongue, and deep lingual vein can be seen here, and there is also called submandibular. These are the things you see in the inferior surface: plica fimbria, frenulum, deep lingual vein. These are the things. Now we'll go to the musculature. Musculature of the tongue. What are the muscles? Muscles of the tongue on either side. Muscles of the tongue on either side, on both sides. On either side, muscles of the tongue can be seen here. They are the intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic muscles present inside the tongue. In the substance of the tongue, they will maintain the shape of the tongue. Intrinsic muscle superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse, and vertical on either side. Superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse and vertical. Their intrinsic muscle, they alter the size and shape of the tongue. They alter the shape and size of the tongue. I repeat, superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse, and they alter the shape. They alter the shape and size of the tongue during the speech, during the deglutition, during the phonation, during the taste. They alter the size and shape of the tongue. They are the intrinsic muscle. Intrinsic means present inside the tongue. Superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse and vertical. I will show you later on in the diagrammatically. Now we will go to the extrinsic. A schematic diagram I am going to draw. It is the styloid process. It is the mandible. It is the head bone. It is the palate. A schematic diagram. It is the styloid process. It is the genial tubercle of the mandible. Mandible. It is the palate. It is the hyoid bone. It is the hyoid bone. Isn't it? Now we'll go to the it is the tongue. It is the tongue, sulcus terminalis, it is the tongue, isn't it? It is the tongue. The muscle from the styloid process to the tongue. Styloid process to the tongue. Muscle from genial tubercle of the tongue, mandible. Muscle from the soft palate, muscle from the head. A simple diagram. From palate to tongue, palatoglossus. Palate to tongue, palatoglossus. From hair to tongue, hyoglossus. From mandible to tongue, genial tubercles are here. Genioglossus. Genioglossus. Styloid process to the tongue. Styloglossus. See here how easy it is. Hyoid bone to tongue. Tongue is also called as glossus. It is a Latin word, Greek or Latin word. But the inflammation to the tongue is called as glossitis. Isn't it? Tongue is also called as glossus. Styloid process to the tongue, styloglossus. Mandible to tongue, genial tubercles inside of the mandible, genial tubercle of the mandible to the tongue. Genioglossus, hyoid to the tongue. Hyoglossus, palate to the tongue, palatoglossus. Among this, the genioglossus is very much important. Among these muscles, I will write down styloglossus, styloglossus, palatoglossus, genioglossus, genioglossus. These are the muscles. Genioglossus. Genioglossus is very much important. It is a fan-shaped muscle. It is a fan-shaped muscle. Upper fibers, middle fibers, lower fibers. Middle fiber will depress the tongue. Upper fibers will retract. Upper fiber will retract. And lower fiber will protrude. Lower fibers will protrude. It has got three types of fibers. Genioglossus has got, it is a fan-shaped muscle. Upper fibers will retract the tongue. Tip of the tongue retraction. Middle fiber will depress the tongue. Lower fiber will protrude the tongue. If it is paralyzed, the tongue falls back. Suffocation will occur and death will occur. Because it has got a three different functions: retraction, depression and protrusion. Upper fiber meant for the retraction, middle fiber meant for the depression, lower meant for the protrusion. Hence, this is called, if this nerve is paralyzed, there may be tongue may fall back, suffocation may occur, the person may die. Hence, genioglossus is called life-saving muscle. Hence, genioglossus among these muscles, genioglossus is called a life-saving muscle. Genioglossus is a life-saving. Well, come on, now you see, I will show the diagrammatic expression. Now I will show the diagrammatic expression. See here, it is the muscle, inferior longitudinal muscle. It is the, see here, vertical muscle. These are the intrinsic muscle I am speaking. I am speaking about the intrinsic muscle. They are the vertical muscles on either side. Inferior longitudinal muscles here. In superior longitudinal muscles, these are the superior longitudinal muscle, inferior longitudinal muscles, vertical muscles. See here. They are, you can see here the vertical muscles. You can see the superior longitudinal muscles. You can see the transverse muscles, vertical muscles, superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal muscle. Similarly, you can see the genioglossus, hyoglossus muscle. It is a hyoid muscle, hyoglossus, genioglossus, styloid process, styloglossus muscle. You can see these muscles can be seen here. The 4 extrinsic, 4 intrinsic. Now there is a lymphatic drainage is very much important because the carcinoma of the tongue is quite common. Carcinoma of the tongue is quite common here. See here. Anterior 2/3 has got the drain into the submandibular. It is a unilateral. It is a unilateral. And it is the middle part, is the posterior 1/3. See here. The submandibular lymph node. The submandibular here. Here you can see the submandibular lymph node. and the posterior one third drain into shear internal they drain into jugulo-omohyoid. Submental, sub anterior two-third submental. Here submandibular, middle is submandibular, posterior one-third, and most posteriorly jugulo-omohyoid. Shear jugulo-omohyoid can be seen here, and because it is quite common in the person who choose tobacco, who choose betel nut, and that what you call the tobacco product, it is a quite common here. These are quite common. The lymphatic drainage of the tongue is quite common. The person who are tobacco chewers, submental, submandibular, jugulo-omohyoid, and you can see the when you see the posterior relations of the tongue. Posterior, when you see here posteriorly, palatoglossal arch, it is a tongue. When you see posteriorly, you can see the epiglottis. Median posterior part I am speaking. Posterior part, before posterior part, you see the palatine tongue. On either side, palatine tonsil is here. And there is epiglottis is here. On either side, epiglottis is here. And there is epiglottis is here. And median epiglottic fold is here. And there is a piriform fossa. Piriform recess is here. And it is a vallecula. On either side, vallecula is here. It is a posterior part of the tongue. That is a palatopharyngeal fold. Median epiglottic fold can be seen here. You can see medially median epiglottic fold, laterally lateral epiglottic fold. These are the posterior relations of the tongue, ula. It is a ula can be seen posteriorly. These are the posterior relations of the tongue. Once again, I tell you the lymphatic drainage is very much important. Anterior two-third submental, posterior is the jugulo-omohyoid, and medial submandibular and the jugulo-omohyoid. These are very much important. The person who are the chewing tobacco and the tobacco product. Now we'll go to the blood supply. The blood supply. Lingual artery. You know the lingual artery is a branch of external carotid artery. You know the branches of the external carotid artery. These are the external carotid artery. Branches of the external carotid artery. Apart from that, tonsillar artery and ascending pharyngeal artery. Ascending pharyngeal artery. The blood supply is from three: lingual artery, external carotid artery, tonsillar artery, ascending pharyngeal artery. They are the three arteries. Now come to the venous drainage. Venous drainage is quite variable. Venous drainage. The chief is the deep lingual vein. Deep lingual vein is a very much important. Venous drainage is deep lingual vein, and the vena comite. Vena comite accompany the hypoglossal nerve. Vena comite. Vena comite. Vena comites accompany with the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve. Deep lingual vein, quite variable. Ultimately, deep lingual vein drain into this deep lingual vein drain into common facial vein, common facial vein, or internal jugular vein, or internal This deep lingual vein, quite variable, ultimately drain into common facial vein or internal jugular vein. Now, what are the papillae? What are the papillae? I give a brief introduction. Papillae are the projection from the mucous membrane. Projection of mucous membrane. They are the projection of papillae are nothing but the projection of mucous membrane. They are the violet papillae. What are the papillae? I told you violet papillae or circumviolet. Violet papillae. Filiform papillae. Fungiform papillae. Fungiform papillae, folate papillae. These are the papillae are nothing but the projection of the mucous membrane. Now we'll go to the nerve supply, is very much important. Nerve supply. Motor nerve supply. The motor nerve supply, all the muscles and all internal muscles, all the muscles, it may be external or internal. Motor nerve supply, all the muscles that is the extrinsic and intrinsic both. Extrinsic, intrinsic both are supplied by all the muscles.